What's up, you guys? I wanted to show you how I did the piece that I'm showing you right now that I put in our shorts or reels or whatever it is that YouTube has the other day. I promised you I'd get it done this weekend, but the weekend happened. So here it is. Here's the video. So I hope you saw the video I did on the seafoam blend application. This is what the seafoam looks like up close. You can see that we actually got bubbles so good that there's kind of a seal. You can see it right there catching the light. And that's just not going to be very conducive to the antiquing, the dry brush method that I'm going to be doing. Excuse me. So I'm going to have to improvise in a little bit, but I'm using a fan brush that's very rough, very, broken. I'm not using a smooth brush at first, because in my head this would just hit the highest points, but it started painting over those little seals that are on the bubbles, because when you make the bubbles, if it doesn't have enough water in it, just slightly, then you'll have this seal on top of it, and it isn't very conducive to the black paint. So I'm going to switch to this liquid copper, and surprisingly, this liquid copper, because it's a spray paint, it ate through the seal that was over the bubbles. I'm just very lightly brushing over top of this. If you put too much pressure, you're going to end up painting the inside of the bubble, and you kind of want to leave that blank. But here's another view. You can see all those kind of scaly seams on the top. But if you just dry brush on, sorry about that. I got interrupted by my puppies. So yeah, it would be dry brush, even though it's not an acrylic, so you can't put water on it. But anyways, because it's an aerosol, whatever propellant is made out of, it kind of just busts the seam. It breaks the surface tension of these little bubbles, and that makes my job super easy for the areas that I want to be copper instead of black, or the kind of gray color that it currently is. If you do this, just remember, super light touch. Just graze it over the top of your little bubbles, and it'll just leave all of the awesome copper look on all of the high points, and it'll just kind of melt away that was on the surface. So for the areas that I want to make blacker, paint them black, but they have the seal because I didn't have enough water in it. I'm having to pop the bubbles. So I'm using just a broken stir stick and kind of putting it around the ring of the bubble to clear out the inside. And now I'm using a deco foil sticky pin. I call it a sticky pin. I think it's called an adhesive pin or something like that. And I am adding it to the high points of these bubbles, because actually I just realized that what I do in this area is add copper leaf. And so copper leaf is super light. This one is just a test, so I'm just using some leftover copper leaf. I always keep all of the metal leaf in a jar for such occasions, just to do test. And this stuff is super light. It floats even if nobody's making the air around you move, and it sticks to everything. So if you have anything that's even slightly sticky or tacky, this stuff is going to stick to it, which includes your resin surface. So make sure that it's cured enough that it doesn't have that slight, ever so slight tack to it, so it doesn't stick to that area. It'll just stick to where you want it to. So just for this test purpose, I'm gonna make it sticky, make it copper, and then dust it away just to see if I want to continue to do this more. I'm sorry my hand's in the way for this, but it will not be there for future demos coming up. the sticky pen or adhesive pen, it doesn't take that long to dry, but I'm still gonna do a little bit of the dry brushing, and I'm gonna try it this time with a tighter bristle brush just to see if it works. I'm just using regular acrylic paint. And I will say, I feel like I have more control with the round brush as opposed to the fan brush, because the fan brush had just bristles that were everywhere, which works if you're working on something that is deeper crevices that you're dry brushing over or antiquing over. But things like this that are a little bit more shallow, it is just not the best thing for that. So I would vote round brush for the black paint application. And now that I've showed you the up close of this process, I'm going to give you a bird's eye view so that you can see what I'm doing while also super hyper time-lapsing it. Just because I want to give you guys an idea of the time that it takes to do something like this. If I were to just do the copper across the entire surface, it probably wouldn't take me that long, because the base is already the darker colored seafoam. By the way, you can get seafoam on my website, artisttilldeath.com, and I do have a site-wide sale I did for pre-Labor Day that I did through Friday. But if you guys are watching this, then I'm going to reinstate this Labor Day code. I guess I'll go through Friday. It stops on Friday. So if you use it now through then, you can get 20% off using code Labor Day on my website. And that's just because you guys are watching my video and you stayed this long. So we'll see how many of you guys make it this far. So anyways, I'm back to adding the copper color. Oh, if you guys want the texture foam that I have on here, it is the Seafoam blend that is on my website. I'll link it down in the description below this video. And so sometimes you'll see that I go in and blow over top of the copper paint, and that's just to further help break that surface tension on the seal, because of my letting my bubble mix, my seafoam blend kind of dry out. And so that's what I'm doing when I'm kind of leaning in there. And so for the composition as itself as a whole, I'm going to kind of blend in and go over some of the copper and some of the black areas interchangeably, just to kind of get the colors to meld in and out of each other. And I'm so sorry that this part's kind of boring and repetitive, but I didn't want you guys to miss anything, so I just did the whole entire video. And so, well, maybe you guys will enjoy it. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe you guys will make it all the way to the end of this video. Hopefully you made it this far in the video so you can see the sale. I wonder if I should just always put code words in the middle of my videos. Okay, back to the arts. So you could, if you wanted to, do this with a smaller brush, but you can see in that area I just did, I went too far into the bubbles and ended up getting paint on the surface instead of just on the rim of the, and did it just then too, the rim of the bubbles. And so just mind your pressure, and if you need to, just go down to a smaller size brush. So I thought I was recording this part, but I didn't. But the copper areas were tacky still from the copper, the liquid copper that I put on, because that stuff takes forever to dry. But it was starting to dull a little bit. So I added copper leaf across the entire thing and just let the areas stick wherever they decided to stick, and didn't worry about it otherwise. By the way, this is a desktop vacuum. You can get it on our Amazon link, also listed in the description box below this video, or I hope it will be. You never know with YouTube. When you dust off the rest of your foil leaf, like I just did with that big paddle brush, be careful. If you do too much, you will tarnish your leafing. So right now I'm adding a little bit of accent areas with the Deco foil adhesive that is supposed to be in a squeeze tube, but my squeeze nozzle dried out, so I'm just using the cap of that bottle. You can use any foil adhesive, honestly. And I'm just hitting all of the spots, like these lower or more shallow bubbles. I'm just hitting those areas. This stuff also takes no time to dry, so by the time you get done adding your adhesive across the piece, you should be good to go to add your foil across the rest of it. Because it's what happens when you have foil adhesive, it's like a milky color, and when it goes clear, then it's ready to go. Problem with that is you're going to lose where you put your adhesive. So you see me like kind of fumbling around trying to feel where any of the tacky's left, but the problem with that then is that the copper leaf gets stuck to your fingers, and then it gets everywhere, and it's a whole big mess. So the moral of the story is the fix is adding a little bit of red water-based paint to your adhesive, just a little bit, just enough to make it pink when it starts to set. And also that'll give your copper or gold leaf an undertone, an underpainting, and it just makes your color look better. So that's a little pro tip for you leafing people out there. Then I decided I wanted to tie in kind of the veining from the piece into the texture I added. So I'm kind of just painting in some more veining that I can then copper leaf. I just noticed that you could see what I'm watching on YouTube. Do you guys know who those people are? Comment below. I think I talked about them the other day on a live feed, actually. I've been kind of under the weather lately, so pardon my flight of ideas. ADD is a little bit worse than normal when you have head cold. So anyways, this is how the piece turned out. I really like it. I think I want to add a little bit more of the texture and the copper color up in the upper right corner from this angle. But let me know what you think. I still need to dust it off a little bit more, but I didn't want to tarnish or varnish. Words are hard. But I think it looks super awesome. It's a great texture. Let me know what you think. And yeah, be kind to one another, because you never know what someone's going through. And always remember, we do the test so you don't have to. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Subscribe.